Hi, my name's Ken Wilson and I'm one of the authors of Smart Choice, and I'm going to answer some questions that have been sent by teachers who've been using Smart Choice. The first question is, what are the best ways to use Smart Choice in blended learning classes? I think it's a great question. I think just so we all agree what blended learning is when the student has some tuition with a teacher in a classroom and some other tuition which is delivered online, usually organized by the teacher, but with the student being able to process their own learning. My personal favorite way of using blended learning is what we call flipping the lesson, which is when we give people homework before the activity rather than after. So I'd like to give you an example now, and I'm going to use this reading text, which is from Smart Choice 2, Unit 3. It's a reading text about a rather interesting man called Yves Rossi, who is a pilot, and in his spare time he straps wings to his back with powerful jet engines and throws himself out of airplanes. It's an unusual and quite dangerous hobby. But what's interesting about this is if we tell the students at the end of the class, in the next class we're going to talk about this man, and just put an image of the man on your screen in the classroom. He looks like a regular guy. What do you think this man does? Is he a teacher? Is he maybe he's a professional sports coach? Somebody said he's a motivational speaker. Then I offer the class his name, Yves Rossi. Have you heard of him? No, says the class. This is great. It's much better to have reading texts about people who are interesting and not famous. You try and write about famous people, you can't write anything in a pre-intermediate book that the students don't know much more about anyway. So we found this interesting unknown man. Here's another image of him. The students now are quite curious about this. Who is this man? I say, now go home, find out about the man before you come back to class next week. And by the way, here's some words I'd like you to look at as well. Find the meaning of these words: daredevil, carbon fiber, parachute, risky, disaster, and injury. And you know what? The students will go home and they will do it in their own way. They may use a translation device or a translation dictionary. So they come back to class, they found about the man online, again, possibly in their own language. They've learnt those new words, and then you present them with the reading text about Yves Rossi. Now, your students aren't stupid. They'll have looked in the book. Oh, it's this reading text that we're doing next week. But because you've offered them this kind of interesting flipped way of doing it, they'll read the text even with more interest. If you want to find out more about the flipped classroom in ELT, there's a very interesting article here written by Laurie Harrison. You can find it on the ELT Jam website, and there's the reference, The Flipped Classroom in ELT.